Scientists puzzled about the development of penicillin-resistant bacteria in patients who have not been taking penicillin believe they have found an explanation. Okay, so these scientists believe they have found an explanation for why there's penicillin-resistant bacteria in patients who have not taken penicillin. The relevant group of patients have dental fillings made of mercury-containing amalgam, and the bacteria the patients develop are immune to mercury poisoning. Scientists have concluded that the genes causing resistance to penicillin are closely bundled on the chromosomes of bacteria with the genes that produces immunity to mercury poisoning. So I guess we're saying like, hey, the genes that cause resistance to penicillin are really similar to the genes that produce immunity to mercury poisoning. Exposure to the mercury kills off bacteria that lack the relevant immunity gene and leaves room for those that possess both the mercury immunity gene and the penicillin resistance gene to flourish. All right, so what is our conclusion here?
I want to say scientists
Yeah.
concluded.
We're lucky. Yeah. The whole thing is about like, hey, scientists has concluded that this happens. And we kind of believe that this is like our explanation, right? All right, cool. And then so our sentence below is, which of the following most accurately characterizes the role played in the passage by the unstated assumption that some patients who take penicillin develop bacteria with an immunity to penicillin? All right, so where is this assumption at? At least one patient who take penicillin develop bacteria with an immunity to penicillin. I guess it's kind of here, like we're puzzled about this. So because we're puzzled about this, it's an unstated assumption a little bit because we're saying like, technically by saying that they're puzzled about this development, they're kind of assuming that there's at least one person that this has had to happen to, right? So what is this assumption in relation to the conclusion?
So maybe give an explanation or try to justify it or
What okay, but what is this here? Like what is this, would you say? Like what part of the argument is this?
a subsidiary conclusion
Is
or
it a subsidiary conclusion? Like are we trying to prove that they're puzzled?
no, I would say like it's a like maybe like the base, like the background.
Yes, but it's a little bit more than that in like, what does the conclusion do to this first sentence?
They conclude it.
Not conclude. Okay. So what is the scientists are puzzled about this thing, right? That's what this sentence is saying. It's like, hey, we're puzzled. We don't we don't understand this, right?
Yeah.
So what does our conclusion do to this thing that they don't understand?
Give evidence.
Okay. So we believe we have found an explanation, right? Our conclusion is like our explanation for this mystery, right?
Okay.
Do you see that? Sorry,
Yeah.
maybe I was asking like too simple of like maybe my question was too simple for how I was asking it. But
Okay.
essentially this first sentence is like the problem, right? We're saying like, hey, we don't know why this is. And then our conclusion comes in and it gives us the answer. It tells or a possible answer, right? So what is the role played by this first sentence? I would say like it introduces like a mission or like it introduces the problem or something like that.
Okay.
All right, so what answer did you choose for this one?
So I chose for that one method statement. I chose C, and I was in between A and C.
Oh, I don't think this is going to mess us up at all, but I kind of misread this. It says some patients who take penicillin develop it. So we don't ever say that people who take penicillin will develop bacteria, to be honest.
Okay.
But but we do assume that people that don't take it also get it. But by assuming that some people that don't take penicillin get penicillin resistance, like we do assume that some people that do take it also get it, correct?
Yeah.
All right, so you were between A and C, you said?
Yes.
Okay, so it is a hypothesis that is taken by the scientists to be conclusively proven by the findings described in the passage. Do we, so hypothesis is like kind of like a conclusion, right?
Yeah.
Do we conclude that at least one person who takes penicillin develops bacteria with an immunity to penicillin? Um,
No.
no, like we don't even talk about this. We're talking about some patients who like do not take penicillin. So we don't offer any like support, or we don't offer any findings to support this at all. And then C says it is a point that in conjunction, or paired with the fact that some patients who do not, oh I like this part, who do not take penicillin, which is the sentence we have highlighted up here, generates the problem that prompted the research described in the passage.
Oh, I see it.
I love C's like perfect. We're saying like, hey, the fact that some people who take penicillin develop bacteria, paired with the fact that some people that do not take penicillin still get it,
Yeah.
prompts the research described, like the problem that prompted the research described in the passage. That's an awesome answer.
Yeah, I see it. I see it.
And since we know that this is a unstated assumption, so that means it's not listed here, like in D, an unstated assumption cannot be our tentative conclusion.
Yeah.
And then just to go over this, like a generalization is kind of when you just kind of say a blanket statement. So to say it is a generalization that, if true, rules out the possibility that some who do not take penicillin develop, like that actually contradicts what our whole thing is about. Like, does the fact that if some people do take it, they get penicillin, does that rules out the possibility that some people who do not take it don't get it or do get it? Like, no. And then E just says it is a generalization assumed. So up to this part, I would like it up into this word, because like a generalization can be assumed. Like, and since this is an assumption, like this answer choice doesn't start terribly. But
Yeah.
it is like an assumption by the scientists to conclusively prove that the explanation of their problems must involve reference to the genetic makeup. Like this generalization does not help explain anything. This is just an assumption. So
Okay.
that's why it's not E. And that's why C is such a great answer. Do you feel good about this one?
Yeah, definitely.